Hi guys, and welcome back to another video where today we're going to be predicting the scores of week 31 of this, the 2019-2020 Bundesliga season. Now, before we get started with week 31, let's have a quick look back at how well we got on last week in week 30.
So last week had a pretty poor week. I only had 4 points with no perfect scores.
I came away with 9 points. I had 2 perfect scores. The Werder Bremen against Wolfsburg, where Wolfsburg got the away victory, and the Union Berlin Schalke 1-1 draw. Representing the viewers last week was Ritz, and Ritz came away with 8 points, just 1 point behind me. So yeah, well done on that, Ritz. Overall now, Nathan, that you are currently on 28 points, I'm on 34 points, and joining me on 34 points is the viewers, so very tight at the moment. Top scorer of the week in week 31 with a great score of 11 points was Harry Doherty. Harry, regular contributor to the show. Yeah, brilliant score with 11 points.
Very good.
But enough of last week. Let's move on to this week and make some predictions.
Okay, so first up we have the evening kick-off on Friday between Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig. Leipzig getting a really shock result last week. 1-1 draw against Paderborn. I don't know what happened there at all. Hoffenheim got a 2-2 draw against Dusseldorf. Really, all I can see in this one is Leipzig bouncing back. I can't see Hoffenheim being able to offer much in this one, even though they did seem to get a good result last week. But I'm going to say 2-0 to RB Leipzig.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go for an away victory in this one as well, Nathan. RB Leipzig last week, a draw against Paderborn. Terrible. As you said, it was Schick with the goal after 27 minutes. It was a great ball by Timo Werner, and Werner himself, how he didn't find the back of the net last week, I don't know. But yeah, Paderborn, in the second half, they came back into it a little bit, and they actually scored out of something like the 93rd minute. They're still rooted to the bottom of the table, Paderborn. But yeah, Hoffenheim last week getting that 2-2 draw against Dusseldorf. Rosler, can he get them out of that relegation sort of playoff zone? We'll have to wait and see. But in this one, as I've said, 2-1 to Leipzig. Next up, we've got Dusseldorf, as we just mentioned, Rosler's men coming against Dortmund, and Dortmund only narrowly beating Hertha Berlin 1-0. Emre Can with a fine strike.
Haaland nowhere to be seen though.
Well, no, he's injured, isn't he, at the moment? So, but Jadon Sancho, he had 2 clear-cut goals. I don't know how he didn't score at least one of them, but his trickery around the area was absolutely amazing. So I think Dortmund looking good. Dusseldorf need the points, but I can't see them getting anything here, especially if Dortmund play the way that they did last weekend. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 away victory.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go for something different. I think with Dusseldorf near the bottom, Dortmund need to really bounce back and get a win, and really they should have won by a bigger margin. Dusseldorf sort of allergic to playing the top teams. I mean, he lost 5-0 to Bayern in there 2 matches ago, so I'm going to go for a solid 4-0 victory to Dortmund. Yeah,
well, Dusseldorf, they've only lost 1 in the last 6, and out of those 6 fixtures, they've drawn 4 of them. Yeah. So
they're like a draw.
Apart from that Bayern Munich game, their games have been very, very close.
But then again, their only winners come against Schalke, and everyone beats Schalke.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so next up we have FC Koln, and they're going up against Union Berlin. Union got a bit of a shock draw against Schalke last time around, especially with how bad Schalke have been playing.
But Union Berlin haven't won in absolutely ages.
Exactly. Really, they did deserve, well, in a way they did deserve the points, but they should have played a lot better, Union Berlin, really. Then Cologne also getting a 1-1 draw last time around against Augsburg. Arguably, you could say that's a good result, especially for where both teams are in the table. In particular, Anthony Modesti getting the goal for Cologne in that one. I can't see the teams being separated. Union Berlin won the last tie 2-0, but with their poor form and everything, and Cologne being patchy as well, I'm going to say 1-1. I can't see either side being separated.
Yeah, Cologne. Throw in, well, they threw that match away against Augsburg last weekend. It was, as you say, they scored in the 85th minute, and all they needed to do was just defend for their lives. And pops Philip Max for Augsburg and ends all square. Both teams, you could say. Well, no, I'd say Augsburg teetering on the edge of that relegation sort of place, which Dusseldorf currently occupy. I think the likes of Frankfurt and Cologne, I think they should be safe. I'm actually going to go for a Cologne victory in this one, even though Union Berlin really need the points, but Union Berlin, their form has been terrible, so I'm actually going to stick my neck out here and actually get a Cologne victory. Also, Union Berlin have lost their last 3 away fixtures as well.
Not on the road.
No. And next up, we've got Hertha Berlin against Frankfurt. Now, Frankfurt, topsy-turvy, their form is all over the place at the moment. They lost last weekend against Mainz. Now, Mainz themselves, terrible, just above that relegation berth. And prior to that, they were beating Werder Bremen and Wolfsburg. So
Wolfsburg are good.
Result. So they're all over the place. So how can you even, making a prediction on this fixture is hard. Hertha Berlin at the moment, after coming back off the break, they've been doing really well, gaining victories and draws. And then last weekend they lost against Dortmund, even though Dortmund were the dominant force in that match. So in this one, it's going to be close. They played out a 2-2 draw early in the season. So because of Frankfurt's erratic form, I'm going to go for a narrow victory to Hertha in this one. I'm going to go for 2-1.
Interesting. Hertha Berlin been impressing me recently, getting some good results, especially a narrow, you could say a narrow 1-0 loss to Dortmund was good, but seems to be beating everyone as well. Leipzig 2-2, good result, so been playing really well. Eintracht, like you said, up and down really. So I'm going to say another Berlin win. There's going to be goals, but I'm going to say 2-1 to Hertha.
Same as me.
Next up, we've got a bottom of the table clash between Paderborn and Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen losing their last 2 matches to both Wolfsburg and Eintracht Frankfurt, while Paderborn got a good draw last time around, but have been drawing a lot recently. Who would you say to win this one? Neither team can score many goals really. They both got scoring issues. Both teams have got scoring issues at the moment. Werder Bremen failed to score in the last game as well. Paderborn just score now and again, so I'm going to say a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, there's not going to be many goals in this one. Not going to be many
goals.
I think with Werder Bremen, they are just above Paderborn at the moment. Okay, losing their last 2 fixtures last weekend, a 1-0 deficit against Wolfsburg, and prior to that they lost 3-0 at home against Frankfurt. Paderborn, okay, they've only conceded some 3 goals in their last 5 fixtures, so their defence is pretty resolute, you could say, overall. So in this one, I think it looks all over for Paderborn this season. They're just playing for pride, whereas Werder Bremen, they could just scrape out of this out of the relegation. So I'm actually going to go for an away victory in this one, a 1-0 victory to Werder Bremen. Next up, we've got Wolfsburg against Freiburg. Now, early in the season, Freiburg won 1-0. Last weekend, Freiburg astonished everybody really, especially in the comments section, beating Monchengladb 1-0. So in this one, how can we go about it? Who do you even predict? So Wolfsburg at the moment, they are in 6th position. They really need to cement. They could possibly drop out of the Euro places. There's no chance really for them to get into the Champions League spot. So I think they'll get a victory in this one. Freiburg up and down really, you could say, even though they're annoyingly getting these victories. So I'm going to go for a home win, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory with probably Mr. Weghorst getting on the score sheet again.
I actually disagree with you. I think Freiburg are going to win this one.
They're annoying. They're annoying, aren't they?
They are Freiburg, they are very annoying, and I think they're going to start to pick up some form. And I don't know, Wolfsburg are just inconsistent, really.
Like Freiburg, you could say.
They're both inconsistent teams, so I'm going to go for an inconsistent result of a Freiburg 1-0.
A difference of opinion on the Bluebird Legend
this week,
channel.
yeah. Anyway, next up we've got Bayern Munich versus Borussia Monchengladbach. Interesting match, this one. Munich winning every week at the moment. Gladbach up and down, they're inconsistent as well, but I can see Form getting a goal for Gladbach in this one, but I think Bayern will just be way too strong, so 3-1.
Yeah, I agree. Gladbach really need to pick up some points now. Coming to the end of the season, only about 4 matches to play.
And not only that, in the reverse fixture, they actually beat Bayern.
They did, surprisingly enough, early in the season. Although that was prior to Hansi Flick coming in and shoring up the defence, of course. So, yeah, in this one, Bayern Munich, they're going to be too strong. Gladbach last week losing against Freiburg, especially with Monchengladbach being the away team, and what we've seen so far since we've come back from this break, the away team seems to be getting the results. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 4-1 home victory to Bayern Munich. They are a machine at the moment. Next up is the first of the Sunday fixtures. We got Mainz, who surprisingly were victorious last week.
Very surprisingly.
Against, who did they beat again? It was such a surprise. Frankfurt,
yeah.
Wow, is that a surprise? Yeah,
yes.
Inconsistent themselves. So, Mainz against Augsburg. Augsburg last week coming back and getting that draw when
Max with a goal.
Yeah, getting that draw against Koln when all seemed lost for them. But it's going to be another. I don't know. It's going to be another draw for me. Mainz 31 points at the moment, just 3 points ahead of Dusseldorf. So I think they'll get another point in this one. Mainz, when I've seen them, they do play good football, but they're like a calendar at the back. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one, 1-1.
Yeah, and you saying that they're like a calendar at the back, I just think that's going to cause them to not lose this game. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Augsburg win. I think they'll just end up bottling it in the last minute this week. So 2-1. And finally this week we've got incredibly bad Schalke, and they're going up against incredibly inconsistent recently Bayer Leverkusen. 3-0 straight out there. I mean, Schalke very lucky to get a draw last week. Young right back John Joe Kenny on loan from Everton getting the goal last week. But they're coming up against a Leverkusen team really good. Hopefully Kai Havertz will be able to put some magic on in this one. So I'm going to say 3-0 to Leverkusen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Leverkusen are going to be too strong for this Schalke side.
Yeah.
Mr. Wagner, who best friends with Klopp, I think.
Yeah.
I think he was born in America as well, Wagner, even though he is German.
Yeah.
Must be under pressure now. Although they do find themselves in 10th place, so there's nothing really to play for Schalke apart from pride. So they're all over the place at the moment, Schalke. Leverkusen in 5th position, joint number of points with Monchengladbach, so they're going to have to get the victory this week, Leverkusen. So I am going to go for that victory, and that is a 3-0 win. So that concludes our predictions for week 31 of this, the 2019-2020 Bundesliga season. As always, I'm going to leave the template of these fixtures in the description. So if you want to play along at home, all you need to do is copy those predictions, put them in the comments, and like Harry Doherty last week, you can get a shout out in the next video on Friday morning, or possibly early Friday evening. I'm going to be drawing at random a viewer to represent the viewers, and you will get a shout out yourself in the next video. Before we go, Nathan, usually ask you if there's anything to add, and the question of the week is,
who is your favourite German player?
German player, wow, they've been blessed with so many great players over the years. However, my personal favourite, I've got 2. I'll have to go for Pierre Littbarski, who was a tricky sort of attacking midfielder, sort of second striker, you could say. Fantastic dribbling skills. played throughout the 80s, mainly for Koln. I think he played for them twice actually, and also went over to Japan for the national team, scoring goals as well. Yeah, he was a brilliant dribbler. If you can catch YouTube videos of him, he had some great tricks up his sleeve, and was a mainstay of the German national team in the 80s. Also loaned for Matthias. Famously, he represented Germany at 5 World Cups, won the World Cup as captain in 1990. A terrific driving force for the German national side and for likes of Bayern Munich, and I think he went to Inter Milan as well.
Inter Milan.
In Italy, also he had a fairly quiet managerial career. So Pierre Littbarski, followed then by Lothar Matthäus. How about yourself, Nathan?
I'm going to say, well, Jed Muller's got to be up there. He's a good player, doing all sorts.
Amazing scorer back in the 70s, wasn't he? So.
Scored some amazing goals, of course. Got to say Miroslav Klose as well. World Cup record-breaking goal scorer. Insane at the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah. He was excellent for Germany, but his club form wasn't that great. But he brilliant for the international side.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was just fantastic in the way he played and everything up front. And I'm going to say, along with that, modern day player got to be Thomas Muller with his bizarre style of play. Just where he just plays anywhere. Not really going to see that much again, I reckon. And the way he linked up with Klose in the 2014 World Cup was just amazing.
Fantastic. So then, guys, thanks as always for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, as they always say, and let's see if we can get to 10 likes this week. Remember to leave your predictions too. We'll see you next week for week 32, and the Premier League is back.
It is.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.